This week, we are talking sustainable habits with Andy. What have you got for us?
So there's some easy ones here that most people will sort of jump to mind, which is, coming into the gym every single day to train.
Yeah.
Which are probably the easy ones that we go to. We pitch up at a class, we're with people we like, we train, and then we carry on with the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. I suppose the ones that we miss out, which are probably where our biggest bang for buck is, so to speak, is things like sleep. Mm-hmm. Making sure, one, we get enough sleep, going to sleep at the same sort of time, and trying to follow a routine building up to that so we get quality sleep. So it might be reading a book rather than being on your phone or watching TV. Mm-hmm. I know some people who do stretching before they go to sleep.
Yeah.
But I think what happens when we create these habits, especially when they're ones that we can continue with, is that when we're tired and when things are generally tough and we're lagging a little bit, those habits kick in.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask you, mate. It's a dream scenario that we talk about often. Okay, we've got to the class is easy, or the PT session is easy. We're talking about doing things like getting to bed on time, maybe a bit of stretching before, a little bit more hygiene around the phone, which we've spoken about a lot on the show, and replacing that with maybe reading, some reflection, some meditation. What's your go-to approach or attack to make sure those habits stick when your life is busy? Because that's what people struggle with. When they come back from holiday, or when they're on holiday, we kind of can do 3 or 4 things a day. We can get to bed on time, we can stretch, and we can read a little bit. But when the shit hits the fan, we're a little bit in trouble and we can't really sustain these habits. So how do you get someone, or how do you get yourself to make those habits sustainable?
I suppose, one, I first try, I write things down, I write my schedule out. I commit to things and to other people, especially when, you're coming back, being away from holiday, is because then suddenly you're accountable to other people other than just yourself. And for some reason that makes us do things.
Yeah.
And then I think the approach has been probably what I've done for a while is, when I start trying to create a habit, is understanding what the cue is for that, what my reward might be. And like we've said a couple of times, is that it's sustainable. So it's not just, well, I'm going to do this for a week. I want this to be something that I'm going to be doing in 5-10 years time. And, we'll talk with clients about it, is that, they want to create this habit. And I'm like, yeah, you're off work at the moment and it's cool that we're creating this. But what happens when, your kids are back from summer holidays or you're back into work, are these habits that we created going to be sustainable when you have everything else going on in life?
Yeah.
So keeping them super simple to start with. Start with small steps, and then as that becomes a little bit easier, build it a bit bigger. A good example is, I spoke about reading before going to bed. I don't particularly enjoy reading, but I'll start with 5 minutes.
Right.
Suddenly I do that, okay, 10 minutes. So small steps leading into it.
There's an interesting book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, and one of the things he says in there is one of the best ways to build a new habit is to identify a current habit that you already do each day and then stack your new behavior on top of it. And he refers to that as obviously habit stacking. Yeah. I find that, I believe that is one of the most effective ways, because what people will generally do is they try and completely turn their life upside down. And then it becomes really hard, and they want to start 6 new things at once. So they want to go through what you said: sleep on time, stretching, and reading, and better phone hygiene all at the same time. Whereas maybe they can identify a positive habit that they have and then stack something on top of it, which could be, okay, I've got 15 minutes before a class or after a class. I still know I'm going to that class, and I'll do my 15 minutes of stretching on top of that habit. Now, some people might say, I don't have time because I've got to drop the kids off, but this is the kind of stuff that James Clear talks about a lot in that book. Is that a system that you've used, mate, and that you find works with people or yourself?
Yeah, I tend to use that with clients, generally getting them coming in before sessions.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, I don't like being late. So, with my clients, I actively encourage them to actually come in early. Yeah. And they'll come up to the room or into the class, and they'll start stretching 15, 20 minutes beforehand. And if they don't feel like stretching and they're here early, just go have a cup of coffee, chill out, and then come enjoy the class. But I think you're 100% right. Is if you say, well, I'm going to do my 15 minutes of stretch and I'm going to do it at the end of the day after a long, hard workout, all you're doing is giving yourself excuses later for not to doing it.
Mate, it's like you're holding a mirror up to me. At the end of yesterday, I didn't do my yoga. That's 5 minutes. We'll leave it there. Andy, thanks a lot for your useful insights. As always, folks, please have a look at James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and that should help you build sustainable habits. Or reach out directly to Andy, am@innerfight.com.